Santa Barbara. The early morning hours. The fog from the sea spreads slowly over the valley, lingering around my garden like a hidden secret. I sit on my porch, a cup of mint tea in hand. The steam brushes my face, trying to calm the waves within me. I look at the garden stretching before me, purple lavenders, rare orchids vying to show themselves as soon as the morning sun hits, cacti standing proud with their thorns. Each one is my labor, my life. I gave it years, and the traces of soil still linger on my fingertips. The garden scent envelopes my soul, earth, flowers, and the morning's coolness. All of it reminds me of George. Just then, the door creaks. That sound always reminds me of the house's age, but this time it feels different, like a harbinger of something. My son Paul steps inside. His face is shadowed, his eyes avoid mine. A chill runs through me. "Mom," he says, his voice icy. "We need to clear out your garden." My heart feels like it might leap out of my chest. It's as if a rock shatters in my core. Before I can gather myself, Diane appears behind him. A fake smile on her face, sharp and cold. "We're building a pool," she adds, her words hanging in the air like a knife. "You're taking up too much space here, Ruth." My grandchildren, 12-year-old Ava and 15-year-old Ethan, sit in the living room. Earbuds in, eyes glued to screens. I want to call out to them, but I know they won't hear. And even if they did, they might not care. To them, I'm just a silent part of the house now, a photo removed from the walls, memories swept away. No one meets my eyes. My garden. My home. My world. "This is my garden," I say, my voice calm, but storms rage within me. No tears fall, and they won't. Instead, a quiet anger rises inside me. Paul doesn't know. But he will find out. Every corner of the house is filled with memories. George and I moved to this hilltop home in Santa Barbara in 1980. It was a paradise, surrounded by wooden fences, with flowers mingling together. Over time, I turned it into a botanical treasure. I dug through the soil for nights on end, my hands blistered, but I didn't care. When George died, Paul was only 18. My grief took root in the garden's soil. I spoke to him among the flowers, forgetting my loneliness there. And despite all that pain, I found strength in the garden's silence. To pay for Paul's architecture school, I worked in the garden, growing and selling plants. I never complained. Then Diane came. The day she stepped into my home, everything changed. She found my flowers messy. She removed my photos, packed my memories into boxes. My colorful throws went to the trash. I became a stranger in my own home. I stayed silent, thinking family requires patience, doesn't it? But patience has its limits. Now I sit on the porch. My teacup trembles in my hand. It's as if not just the porcelain but I, too, am about to crack. Yet silence is my plan. My garden whispers to me. The orchids sway gently in the breeze, the lavenders release their scent as if to console me. The soil, my patient and loyal friend, waits. In a drawer, there's a box no one has opened in years. George's notes, sketches, plant lists. They're all there. "Ruth, your garden is your strength," he'd written on the edge of a notebook. I didn't understand then. Now I do. My garden isn't just flowers. Rare plants, specimens I've collected and preserved over years. Their value is measured in millions. Paul and Diane don't know. They only see flowers. But they'll find out soon. My silence will be my revenge. Night. The garden. Moonlight filters through the branches, glimmering like silver on the orchid leaves. The breeze is soft, whispering. In my hand are George's yellowed notes. My fingers tremble as I turn the pages. The ink has faded, but the words remain strong. "Ruth, these plants are special. Protect them." As my eyes scan the lines, I can almost hear his voice. Every root, every leaf in my garden isn't just a plant, it's George's legacy to me. The orchids, patient witnesses, bow their heads, shining in the moonlight. The cacti point their thorns defiantly to the sky. The lavenders, even in the dark, refuse to stop releasing their scent. This garden isn't just a patch of earth. It's a botanical treasure. California's endemic species, rare plants coveted by collectors. They're all here, grown by my hands. Paul and Diane think this is just a lawn to be mowed. They see the surface of beauty, not its depth. They're wrong. And that mistake will be their greatest weakness. It's my greatest strength. Morning comes. With resolve, I pick up my phone and dial an old number. Margaret, a botanist. George's friend from years ago. He often consulted her for sketches and research. When her familiar, warm voice comes through, a warmth stirs within me. We haven't spoken in years. Ruth, she says, is your garden still the same? Yes, I reply. But I need you to tell me something. I describe the notes and the collection. After a brief silence, her voice trembles with excitement. Ruth, your garden is a fortune. The orchids, the cacti. They're worth millions. It's as if my breath catches. I knew the value of what I held, but not to this extent. Fear and hope clash within me. So what should I do? I ask. Margaret's answer is clear: you could sell them. They'd go to major collectors, secure your life. Or, you could start a botanical garden. Your name would live on for years. Her words echo in my mind. I smile, a faint but resolute smile. First, I need to protect my home, I say. Margaret checks the deed within a few days. Her voice carries a reassuring tone. Ruth, the house is still in your name. Paul and Diane have no rights. The burden inside me lifts instantly. They don't know this truth. They don't know many things. And I protect this secret with my silence. Silence is my plan. The air in the house is heavy. It's as if everyone senses something is coming. Diane paces in front of the TV, making plans. Paul scribbles designs on his computer, perhaps imagining the pool, the porch. But they don't know what lies in the depths of the garden. I step into the garden. Ava is sitting on the grass, touching the lavenders with her hands. Her innocent eyes look at me. Grandma, why are these flowers special? My heart softens. I can't be angry with her. They're my story, I say softly. Each one is a memory, a breath, a life. Her eyes sparkle, and she nods as if she understands. Just then, Ethan approaches. He takes off his earbuds, his gaze serious. Are they building a pool? He asks. There's both fear and curiosity in his question. Anger surges within me, but so does resolve. I can't tell them the truth, not yet. I just look into their eyes. You'll see, I say, my voice almost a whisper but carrying the echo of brimming strength. The flowers in my garden rustle in the breeze. It's as if they're making a vow with me. Silence is my storm. And that storm is about to break. Noon. The sun is at its peak, and activity stirs in the garden. Diane's heels crush the grass, accompanied by unfamiliar workers. They carry measuring tools, shovels, scanning the area with stern looks. Diane's voice is sharp, commanding, level this place. Leave nothing behind. I want a clean start. There's impatient excitement in her tone, as if the garden is her enemy. Her eyes drift to my orchids, her lips curling with disdain. In that contempt, she dismisses years of my labor, George's legacy. Paul sits on the porch, scrolling aimlessly on his phone. He doesn't even glance at the destruction unfolding in the heart of his own home. He hides in timid silence, retreating to the shadows. Ava and Ethan are in the living room, trying to mask the tension on their faces. Ava looks at me from the window, fear and curiosity in her eyes. Ethan, even with his earbuds in, can't tear his gaze from the garden. It's as if they both sense what's coming but can't speak of it. Diane turns to me. Her smile is fake, sharp as a blade. Ruth, you need to move out. This house isn't for you anymore. A pool will be more modern. More fun for the kids. Your garden takes up too much space. Her words are spoken slowly, each one a nail driven into my heart. I take a deep breath, the scent of soil filling my lungs. This is my home, I say, my voice calm but solid as stone. Diane laughs, a scornful glint in her eyes. Not anymore. In that moment, a silent fury born of silence surges within me. My face shows no expression, but inside, a storm brews. The spareness of my words amplifies my strength. They don't know. What they don't know is my greatest weapon. Evening falls. At sunset, I step into the garden. The air has cooled, the lavenders spreading their scent more strongly. I kneel in the soil, my hands stirring the earth. The soil between my palms gives me strength, and George's voice echoes in my ears. Your garden is yours, Ruth. Don't let it go. I close my eyes, feeling his breath as if he's near. This garden isn't just flowers, it's the grave and sanctuary of my marriage, my grief, my patience. My phone vibrates in my pocket. It's a collector named Charles. His voice carries professional coolness mixed with barely concealed admiration. Ms. Ruth, he says, I've heard about your orchids. Priceless species. Would you consider selling? I stay silent for a moment, smiling. Two voices clash within me, the urge to protect and the need for revenge. Maybe, I say finally, my voice low but certain. In that moment, my plan begins to take shape. Silence will be my weapon. The next day, I meet Margaret at a small Santa Barbara cafe. Sunlight streams through the windows, the air filled with the scent of coffee. Margaret sits across from me, her face a mix of friendly warmth and seriousness. She places a thick file on the table. The deed is still in your name, Ruth. The house and garden are entirely yours. They have no rights. My hands tremble as I touch the papers. The legacy George left me is now my shield again. Margaret and I draft a letter addressed to the workers. Do not touch the garden. This property cannot be altered without the owner's consent. My seal and signature mark the paper. As I tuck it into my bag, my heart beats stronger than ever. Meanwhile, Charles sends an offer. He's direct on the phone, $2 million for your orchids. My breath catches when I hear it. A life-changing sum. A number that proves my garden's worth. I close my eyes and take a deep breath. But another strength rises within me. Wait, I say in a resolute tone. I need to teach my family a lesson first. Silence will be my revenge. And I'll wield that silence when it crashes down on them. A week passes. My garden stands quiet but resolute. The workers' clamor is gone, the sound of shovels and saws silenced. The letter reached them. The weight of the law, the deed, forced them to stop. That paper was the first weapon born of my silence. Diane paces inside the house. Her face is flushed, her eyes blazing with anger. She's crumpled the letter in her hand, as if it's me she's crushing. Ruth, what is this? How dare you stop us? This is our house, our plan. Her voice echoes off the walls. Here is the English translation of the provided text, preserving the original meaning and tone without alteration. My phone rings. It's Paul. I answer. His voice is shaky, uncertain. Mom, you can't stop the garden. The pool is our future, our family's investment. I pause for a moment, then my words cut like a knife. The future, Paul? Are you building your future by kicking me out of my own home? My words echo in the room, like a cry rising from the depths of the earth. Paul swallows hard. Silence. In that silence, I can hear his breath, his hesitation, his regret. Mom, please, he says finally, his voice weak. Diane yells from the background, her anger lacing every word with venom. "This is selfish, Ruth. You're ruining the family over a few flowers." Selfish. A laugh rises inside me but doesn't escape. Selfish? I gave years to this house. Every corner of the garden holds my sweat, my tears, my patience. George's memory is there. The hours I worked day and night to pay for Paul's school are there. I stayed silent, I sacrificed. They only consumed. Who's the selfish one? I say, my voice icy. Then the line goes quiet. Paul hangs up without a response. I step into the garden. The late afternoon sun sparks glints on the orchid leaves. It's as if my garden is alive, resisting. The flowers breathe, the soil's heart beats with mine. The headlights of cars pulling up catch my attention. Collectors, experts, enthusiasts. They're all coming to see my orchids. One leans down, whispering in awe, "Ms. Ruth, these are like museum pieces. They should be displayed." I talk with Charles in a corner. His face holds its usual professional calm, but his eyes gleam with greed. "Are you selling?" he asks. I take a deep breath, my eyes scanning my garden. "Yes," I say finally. But first, I pause, a faint smile curling my lips. "First, I have a message to deliver. Silence is my strength. Silence is my revenge." A small hand touches my arm. Ava appears beside me, her eyes wide, worried. "Grandma," she whispers, "why is everyone so angry?" I hug her, stroking her hair. "Because I'm protecting what's mine, sweetheart. Sometimes people can't understand that." Ethan approaches from a distance, his earbuds dangling around his neck. His gaze is serious, mature beyond his years. "I don't want a pool," he says. "Your garden is amazing. Playing here, walking among the flowers, it's better." My heart warms. A hope I haven't felt in years blossoms within me. My grandchildren, maybe they'll understand the true value of my garden. Looking at them, I know their future will grow not in a pool but in this soil. My plan is in motion. And I will win with my silence. Silence will be my victory. The house is quiet now. The sound of workers' hammers, the construction noise, has long stopped, only a heavy silence and the echo of a cluttered porch remain. Diane's face is flushed with rage. Her eyes are wide, her voice trembling. "Ruth! This is our house. How dare you do this?" she screams. Her desperation is palpable beneath her anger. Paul sits on the porch, his head in his hands, lost in the shadow of his regret. Occasionally, he manages a faint, "Mom, what have you done?" but he already knows the answer. My garden is still there. Though chaos rages in the house, a storm brews within the family, the garden still breathes. My orchids sway gently in the breeze, the lavenders ripple like a purple sea in the summer sun. My cacti, carefully chosen and nurtured over years, watch me with their thorny silence. When I look at them, I see not just flowers or plants but a lifetime, memories, patience, and labor. That's why collectors have lined up outside the house. My garden is no longer just mine, it's a treasure to them too. Charles, a wealthy collector, steps forward from the crowd. Documents in hand, lawyers by his side. He looks at me and says without hesitation, $2.5 million. I want the entire garden. All of it. His words hit Diane like a slap. In that moment, I make my decision. Though a bittersweet sorrow stirs within me, I meet Charles's eyes and say, "Take it all." And so begins the dismantling of my garden. Trucks pull up one by one, workers carefully uproot each plant, ensuring the roots remain intact. My orchids are packed into boxes, lavenders tied into bundles, cacti moved with thick gloves to protect their thorns. The garden empties with every passing minute. The corner of paradise that once echoed with children's laughter, that gave me peace in the cool mornings, slowly turns into a barren patch before my eyes. Diane collapses to her knees, covering her face as she sobs. "How could you do this? This garden was our family's, our memories, she says. But her words mean nothing to me anymore. Because I was the one who built this garden, who kept it alive. Paul remains silent. He feels the weight of it all on his shoulders but doesn't dare say a word. Ava and Ethan step into the garden. Their small eyes watch the trucks, the boxes, the flowers being taken away. Their voices are soft, innocent. "Grandma, why are the flowers going?" My heart tightens. I kneel down, stroking their hair. "They're going to a new place," I say. "But you'll come too. The flowers will be waiting for you there." They nod, but the sadness in their eyes is undeniable. That evening, I call Margaret. She's been my friend for years, a witness to everything. I tell her what happened. Her voice is calm and resolute. "Ruth, this house is yours. You can do whatever you want. If you want to sell, sell." Her words give me courage. After hanging up, I call Linda, the realtor. "Linda," I say firmly, "list the house. Now." She pauses briefly, then asks in a worried tone, "Ruth, are you sure? This is your life's work, but I've already made my decision." "I'm sure," I say. "I have to do this." The sale happens quickly. Within a week, an offer comes. The new owner is a botanist, someone who approaches my garden with love, who understands the value of the plants. This comforts me. I may be leaving, but the soul of my garden will live on. The sale is finalized, the papers signed. Now comes the hardest part, notifying Paul and Diane. The official notice from my lawyer is clear: vacate the house within 7 days. When I hand them the paper, a deep silence falls over the house. No shouting, no objections. Just silence, just the helplessness settling on their faces. In that moment, I feel the weight of years of anger, hurt, and betrayal finally met with justice. Silence is my greatest revenge. A month passes. I'm in another valley in Santa Barbara now. My new home is smaller compared to the old mansion, but it's just right for me. It has a garden, that's what I wanted most. Orchids, lavenders, thorny but resilient cacti. I've planted them all with my own hands. Working with the soil teaches me to breathe again. The damp earth between my hands seems to pull away the pain of the past as the sun rises. The money from Charles, $2.5 million, sits safely in the bank. I understand now that this simple piece is worth more than grand mansions, lavish dinners, or ostentation. I'm no longer a prisoner of money, I'm the master of the freedom it offers. Ava and Ethan play in my new garden. Ava runs among the flowers, looking at me and laughing. "Grandma, this is even better," she says excitedly. Ethan, beside her, has a calm but happy look in his eyes. "We didn't want a pool anyway," he adds. In that moment, I know I made the right choice. The children's laughter carries a warmth that never echoed in the cold walls of the big house. They are my future, my breath. One afternoon, the phone rings. It's Paul. His voice is sharp, carrying the commanding tone I'm used to. "Mom, you sold the house." "Why?" I listen silently. There's no anger inside me, just a deep emptiness. Then I respond slowly. "You kicked me out," I say. "Now find your own way." My words silence him. A brief pause on the other end, then the call ends. Soon after, a message from Diane arrives. "Ruth, this isn't fair." Fair. The word echoes in my mind. Were they fair to me? When they erased my memories, my photos, my home, were they fair? No. I don't need their justice anymore. I put the phone on silent and step into my garden. As the sun sets, I breathe in the scent of the soil. There's silence. Birdsong, the soft hum of the breeze, and the calm beating of my heart. It's all mine. No one can take it away. The next day, I meet Margaret. She's as energetic and hopeful as ever. She looks at me, smiling, and says, "You should start a botanical garden." Pour all your passion, knowledge, and love into it. A spark ignites within me. My eyes light up. Yes, I say. Ruth's garden. It's no longer just a dream, it's a goal. My garden will grow not just flowers but a new life. Rare plants, an education center for young learners, a true legacy for Ava and Ethan. I want to give them not just money but a future with roots. At night, I look out the window. The dark valley, a sky adorned with stars, and the lavender swaying gently in my garden. There's silence within me, peace, but also the excitement of a new journey. The weight of the past no longer burdens me, the light of the future guides me. And I know, in this new soil, I'm being reborn. Paul and Diane eventually moved into the same apartment building as me. The irony was that they were the ones who tried to push me out of that house for years. Now, drowning in debt, on the brink of losing everything, they've sought refuge here in desperation. Their state stirs a strange mix in me, anger, pain, but also a deep peace. Because life delivers its justice in the most unexpected ways. Ava and Ethan spend much more time with me now. When they come to my home, the relief in their eyes is clear. They play in my garden, touch the soil, sometimes sit quietly and listen to my stories. One day, Ava turns to me and asks, "Grandma, why don't you help them?" There's deep curiosity behind her childlike innocence. A faint smile crosses my face. Because they pushed me out, sweetheart. But I'll never leave you, I say. Ethan jumps in, his eyes sparkling. "Your garden is epic, Grandma," he says. I can't hold back my laughter. "Because it's my garden," I reply. In that moment, I see the bond they feel for me in their eyes. They know where their hearts belong. One afternoon, the sky darkens, and thunder rumbles faintly in the distance. A light rain falls. A shadow appears at my door. When I open it, I see Paul. Water drips from his clothes, his eyes red. He looks like a broken man. "Mom," he says in a trembling voice. "We made a mistake." His lips quiver, his eyes carrying traces of regret and helplessness. "Please, help us." I looked at him silently for a long time. Storms raged within me, because once upon a time, I would have given the world for my son. But that day, he had, with his own hands, cast me out of my garden, my home, my years of labor, and most importantly, my dignity. I took a deep breath and made him meet my eyes. "You kicked me out of my garden, Paul," I said in a calm, steely tone. "Now you have to find your own way." I closed the door. My heart ached, my eyes burned, but I knew I had done the right thing. This was a bittersweet victory. The next day, Margaret came to visit. She sat gracefully in the armchair, a few files in her hands. "Ruth's garden is opening," she said excitedly, a spark of pride in her eyes. "Collectors are already lining up. Your work, the labor no one appreciated for years, is finally finding its value." My heart raced, my throat tightened. I smiled quietly. Then, I said, "I'll set up a fund for Ava and Ethan. Their future must be secure. Everything I earn from the garden will belong to them." Margaret held her silence, her eyes glistening. No words were needed. This moment was my true victory. My family had dismissed me, but I had stood tall for my grandchildren. While Paul and Diane crumbled, my garden was reborn, the hope sprouting from my roots stretched toward Ava and Ethan's tomorrows. Ruth's garden. Santa Barbara's new gem. A reflection of years of labor, patience, and passion rising to life. As you stepped through the garden's gate, the scent of rare plants greeted you. Every leaf, every flower had passed through my hands, nourished by stories. The orchids gleamed, the lavender swayed gently in the breeze, the cacti stood tall and strong. Each plant was a symbol of both the past and the future. Educational tours began. Young people and enthusiasts visited the garden, examining each plant with awe. Ava and Ethan were by my side on weekends. They plunged their hands into the soil, watered seedlings, studied the flowers. One day, Ava turned to me, her eyes sparkling. "Grandma, this is amazing." Ethan nodded, a look of astonished admiration in his eyes. "The orchids are magical," he said. I smiled and hugged them. "And so are you." One afternoon, I picked up the recorder from my desk. Facing the camera, I spoke, gazing at the quiet magic of my garden. "If someone you love has pushed you aside, you're not alone. Silence isn't defeat, silence is strength. Hold on to yourself, your labor, and your memories." I uploaded the recording to the Grandma True Storytime channel. Within minutes, comments flooded in. "Your garden is inspiring," one read. "I was cast out too, but watching you gave me courage," said another. Silence was no longer loneliness, it was a chorus, filled with voices from around the world. I walked through my garden. The scent of the soil beneath my feet, the dampness in my hands, the lavender swaying in the breeze. Everything brought me peace. The orchid's glossy leaves reflected the last rays of sunlight, turning the garden into a painting. I kept George's yellowed notes in my pocket. I opened them, his faded handwriting staring back. "Ruth, your garden is yours. Protect it, nurture it, grow it." My eyes welled up. He was right. I had returned with my garden. Neither Diane, nor Paul, nor the wounds of the past could stop me now. Silence was mine again. But this time, silence was the sound of victory, peace, and rebirth. Here, in this world I created with my own hands, I had left the pains of the past behind, building a new legacy with my grandchildren. Ruth's garden was not just a garden, it was a symbol of a life woven with love, struggle, and patience. And I was reborn in this garden every day. Ruth's garden was no longer just a garden, it had become a landmark of Santa Barbara, a living space woven with love, patience, and labor. Collectors, botany enthusiasts, students, and tourists visited. Every corner was a learning space, a point of discovery. The plants were not just growing organisms but silent teachers touching people's souls. Ava and Ethan had become the garden's little masters within weeks. Their hands held watering cans, their knees stained with soil, their eyes brimming with curiosity. Ava turned to me with a big smile. "Grandma, you're a hero." I hugged her, a warmth rising within me. "So are you," I said. Their love and admiration healed all the wounds of the past. Ethan, never stopping, kept asking questions. "Teach me about a new plant, Grandma." I smiled. "Be patient, everything is learned in time," I said. The growth of my garden wasn't just a physical success, it was a testament to the bond one built with the community, the knowledge I shared, and the inspiration I gave. I didn't stop there. I founded a charity, Ruth's Legacy Fund. Its purpose was to support women who had been pushed aside and grandmothers relegated to the background by society. The first donation was for Ava and Ethan. They would be part of my legacy, and through this fund, they would touch other lives. There was still no word from Paul and Diane, maybe they'd come one day, maybe not, but it no longer mattered. Because I had my garden, my community, my life. One afternoon, I sat on the porch. The air was cool, the scent of lavenders carried by the breeze. A notification popped up on my phone, a woman had left a comment on the garden's social media account. Her words trembled before my eyes. "Ruth, your story saved me. You made me feel I'm not alone." My eyes filled with tears. From happiness, pride, the sweet peace of years of labor. A faint smile crossed my lips. This comment showed that my garden was not just plants but a bridge to people's souls. Silence was no longer just waiting, it was the sound of movement, interaction, shared life. Sitting on the porch, moonlight streamed over my garden. Orchids and lavenders swayed gently, night insects humming a soft melody. George's old notes sat beside me. "Ruth, your garden is yours." He was right. I had returned with my garden, the strength I gained in silence was the fruit of my patience, the proof of my labor. And now, in this garden, I was growing both my story and others. Ava and Ethan ran, smiling at me, planting new seeds. This new life, woven with soil, water, and sun, was mine and open to the world. Silence, my peace, my community, all were mine. A year passed. The quiet march of time had taken root in my garden. Ruth's garden was now a legend. Tucked among Santa Barbara's hills, it rose like a small miracle. Newspapers, television channels, and social media buzzed about the garden. Headlines boldly declared, "Ruth's plants conquered the city." It was no longer just a botanical treasure but a symbol of inspiration. Ava and Ethan ran around the garden during summer break. Their hands held small watering cans, their knees stained with soil, their eyes sparkling with curiosity. Ava ran to me. "Grandma, this place is magical." Ethan laughed, adding, "The orchids are still mesmerizing." I smiled and hugged them. These children were not just my grandchildren, they were the most precious fruits of my labor and patience. They were the true heirs of my garden. That morning, sitting on the porch, a notification popped up on my phone. New comments had arrived on the Grandma True Storytime channel. One message read, "If someone you love has pushed you aside, know you're not alone." Ruth's story gave me strength. My eyes filled with tears. These lines reaffirmed the pain of years, the power of silence, and the reward of labor. Silence was no longer loneliness but the voice of justice and strength. Revenge didn't shout, it was hidden in the delicate but resolute blooming of an orchid, in the patient spread of lavender scent. Each plant was a symbol of leaving behind past injustices, exclusion, and betrayal. Journalists came to tour the garden, to hear my story. People lined up to touch the soil, to caress the plants, seeing their own hopes in every leaf. Sitting with Margaret, we looked at the garden. "Ruth, you didn't just create a garden, you created a community," she said. "You inspired, empowered, gave justice." In that moment, George's old notes came to mind. "Ruth, your garden is yours." He was right. I had returned with my garden. Every victory won in silence, every planted seed, carried the scent of justice. Paul and Diane were still absent, their news irrelevant, the shadows of the past no longer mattered. Because I had found my own path, made my own soil bloom. At dusk, silence reigned in the garden. Lavender swayed gently, orchids reflected the last light of the sun. Ava and Ethan watered seedlings, smiling, while birds hummed a soft melody. Silence, once again, was the sound of victory and peace. The soil, my hands, my grandchildren, and Ruth's garden, they were a whole, a rewriting of a life. In that moment, I understood, justice wasn't in loud voices but in quietly sprouting flowers, in the scent of soil, in the reward of labor. Silence was the true scent of justice.